Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American did find their way to America by way of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And today we're going to look at a subject that a lot of times we try to avoid. And that subject is us itself. Nobody else. Nobody's putting in a comment or idea. We're going to take a look at ourselves, what we really are, what we really do, what we do for the world, but something that we don't do for each other too much. Tonight, we're going to talk about healing ourselves. And we have an indigenous brother here who realizes that's what he is. Can't be nothing else. When you finally break it down, brother name is BraveBear. And he's going to talk to us about healing ourselves and places in history where if we just looked, we'd find it. You have to understand why people are running to the Americas, why people want to be America. All they want to be is you. That's it. So tonight we're going to go into something that many has heard of before, I'm sure, and some people may have not have heard. So we're going to introduce this brother, let him come in, and I'm going to shut up. BraveBear, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for being with us tonight. Healing ourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you into this way of thinking.
Okay, so um, a few years back when we had the pandemic, the what the people call the coronavirus or COVID or whatnot, I had gotten pretty sick, and as I talked to Lisa one time, and I told her that I had lost my singing voice. So that's been something that's bothered me through the years, and lately I've really been trying to figure out how to get it back. So also a couple years ago, right around the pandemic, you had someone on that I thought was Edwin, but he doesn't really remember much. But the person was talking about urine therapy and how they knew someone, and they was speaking on this person's testimony, how it softens your skin, it ungrays your hair, it basically it does the same thing to us that the womb, when we're in our mother's womb, which is why we come out with fresh skin. We come out like basically in perfection. um so that's what this does. But also lately I've really been thinking about how people talk about Henrietta Lacks as if she's one singular um cellular individual, but meanwhile she's indigenous to the Americas, and as Lisa was telling me today, she's also an Accomac as we are. So they speak on this person even when they're talking about the power of so-called black people of America, or even sometimes calling us African Americans, which of course we know we're not. They all talk about this God cell, or this God-like light that's within us, which technically it breaks down to being light crystals, or even light cells. So Henrietta Lacks, they even made a movie pretty recently about her. But again, they single her out as if she was the only person in America that had these cells that regenerate, and they found out that they could put bacteria, they could put cancer, they could put any man created disease into her culture of cells, and her cells would regenerate and heal whatever bacteria or cancer they put in there. Um, and include, like, so basically regrow. So if it was a arm, cells of an arm, it could do the same thing. So even now we can do that. So lately I've been regenerating myself. So I've gotten some cuts and things, and I've wiped the urine on the cuts, and they literally they start to heal immediately. Like they get this like something they call in the surgical field liquid band-aid. Well, they get a natural liquid band-aid over them, and then before you know it, not of course not paying attention, because after the pain is gone we normally forget about it. But then here or there I'll happen to look down, and I see what should be a scar, but I can hardly see it. So something that can take months to heal, just by wiping your urine on it, it will literally start to regenerate skin over it immediately. A couple years back, when I had heard the other indigenous brother talking about the UT journey or urine therapy, I had cut a piece of one of my fingers off, and that grew back. But even with those things happening, then I kind of got scared of what was going on, because I didn't realize that when I was rubbing the urine on my skin, and how it was rejuvenating to look like what my grandson's hands look like, I thought that it was permanently damaging them by putting all these little fine, what we would call, I guess, sections of skin or even wrinkles. But my hands right now literally look just like my grandson's, and he's 2 years old. Um, People around you, because you're looking at yourself, when you start this journey and get into it wholeheartedly, you'll even change the way you eat, because your cells will start to tell you what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat. You'll even find that if you're looping as I am, which means I take my first early rising urine, which is also the strongest. It's the most potent because it has over 6,600 and like 50 something um thousand um like hormones and minerals. So again, this is complete regeneration. Our bodies have a complete the complete minerals w- from our mother's womb. So again, it goes back to how we're taught to go to the doctors, or we're taught to pray about it. But meanwhile, we don't know that right in us is everything that we ever need. It's even our food. So, how I was starting to say that it will change your diet. So, it changes any addictions, porn, anything. But you also want to ask it to do certain things. So, like if you have a porn addiction, as I didn't know I had, but if you're looking at anything, or you're doing anything that takes you out of your day to where you could be doing something productive, it's an addiction. So it doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes, and even looking at women in a certain way, that we really shouldn't, to where you dwell in lust. The urine will stop all that. It will stop food cravings of any kind. You'll stop smoking, because again, as you're re-ingesting your urine, your cells literally change your taste buds. So they'll let you know if you've had something that has too much salt in it. um It'll let you know if you eat something, like if you eat cupcakes, your urine will taste different and kind of weird to you, not so great. If you are still eating meat, fried foods and stuff like that, it tastes extremely weird, including even eating stuff like beans and rice. It really has a weird taste, to a bitter, weird taste to it. So you won't like the taste, so you'll stop. even eating that stuff. You won't have no cravings of it. Like I can go around Dunkin' Donuts. I can ride by Dunkin' Donuts. I can go into a Dunkin' Donuts, into a Starbucks, and have no desire to grab a coffee. Period. Like absolutely not. Like I used to be a coffee drinker, especially like during tattooing. I would start my day that way. um, but now I don't, no coffee. Have Again, I have no desire for it. Um, I look at no porn. It doesn't even it it doesn't even occur to me to pick up a phone or any gadget to look at it. It's literally it's really so amazing because I've heard other people say this, but I had to find out for myself. So that was something that's been playing on me for years, and including I've heard you, Carrie, speak on that. How we uh, we get these addictions that we think are harming us, but it is harming us because we're giving energy to parasites, which also that's another thing the urine will do. It gets rid of parasites. I just got rid of a parasite a couple of days ago, probably about 4 days ago, and this is after already dispelling parasites. I've dispelled fluke worms. I've dispelled pinworms, and the other day I dispelled some type of parasite that looked like a baby snake. I sent the picture of it to Edwin. Um, so this is, again, this is complete generation. This is complete healing of everything that you and I don't even know we have to heal from. So I didn't know that I had all these parasites in me. I started to realize it because I found out that like eating fish, especially raw fish such as sushi, or even farm raised salmon, which a lot of us think is healthy, or even salmon period isn't, because for one, we're not that wasn't the diet that we actually had. But because we've fallen by and we listen to outside influences such as people of the US, US citizens, we go to them to get healed supposedly, but meanwhile all they do is they tell us to keep eating these foods. So like I can get sick right now and then go to the hospital and they'll tell me it's okay to eat white potatoes and fried foods and whatnot because that's what they serve you. Well, they serve us that because it continues to keep them being paid. It makes us sick along with the pharmaceuticals. So as far as the pharmaceuticals, and this is something I talked to Lisa about earlier, and she even agreed as a nurse that they're taking urine, some from animals, but then they're also sometimes they take it from us. Like for instance, I know that the urinals that we use, such like maybe at rest stops and whatnot, the portable ones, they're actually those trucks that come and get those urinals. They take those to special banks and they collect that urine and then they make pharmaceuticals out of it. So they make hair products with it. They make all women's makeup has it. All facial products have it, whether for male or female. They have urine in it. They call it something like urantine or something in the
Urea.
product. Yes, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, and then sometimes they call it another word that's very similar, and I want to say they add an N or an M to it. But yes, urea is the key ingredients right there, and it's in all regeneration products that they're selling back to us. It's in all the stem cells products. So, like they're saying stem cells, or they even talk about baby stem cells. But meanwhile, we have the same stem cells because we are babies. We never changed from a baby. And another thing I was explaining to Lisa earlier, people say, well, how old are you? So, for instance, no one ever knows how so-called old or what age what year I was born because I forever have looked I always have looked 20 years younger than I was, except for when I was younger. When I was so called younger, like 17 to 23, I actually looked older then because I was a fighter. Like I used to fight, boxing and kickboxing and stuff. So then people thought I was 25, but then after I stopped doing that, people always think that I'm much younger. So, which we are, because if you don't speak on age, you are how you feel. So, right now, as I'm tell people, especially now on this urine therapy, I'm at my body's actually my 17-year-old self, except for I right now I'm at a I stay around 170, whereas when I was 17, I was 142 and couldn't gain weight. I wasn't able to gain weight till I was like 23, and I found out about creatine and whey protein, which again is a bunch of pharmaceuticals, a bunch of trash, which causes us, the indigenous people, it causes us to have too many proteins, and we have kidney issues, and we end up on dialysis, or we end up pre-diabetics and whatnot. And then of course we run to the doctors, and then they tell us it's okay, take this pill, and then we just have a slow, painful death, like my uncle Ray that passed last year. He had a slow, painful death because he kept going back to the doctors. But meanwhile, he was supposed to be a Christian. So I used to say to him, Uncle, how is it that I'm not a Christian, but I can recite stuff to you that's in your Bible, where it tells you in your Bible the herbs shall heal a nation. It also tells you this allegory Jesus. He literally tells you what to do to heal yourself. This allegory Jesus in the Bible, literally there's like 12 verses where he tells you to take thine own from thine own cistern, and to take from thine own waters. The waters that he's talking about, which is the same waters I'm walking on right now, just as he supposedly did in front of his apostles, is your own healing water, the urine. So I'm walking on water. And when I say that, no, it's not as literally as if I'm walking on seawater, or I'm walking on the ocean, or I'm levitating above the water. I'm walking on water because that's how I'm moving about. That's how I'm living, because every day, all day, I re-ingest my own waters, or my mother's own waters, because in the womb, and even right now, we still have our mother's cells in us, as she has ours. So another thing, me and Lisa was talking about earlier, and she agreed again as a nurse, that I can heal my mother and my mother can heal me, not even being in close proximity. So right now, my mother, she used to be in South Carolina, and we healed each other without even knowing what each other was eating. We both had the same disorders going on, where our bodies were both naturally slim people, but we started to look very we started to look very aged and worn out, and almost like what my sister calls gaudy, to where your cheeks are sunken, but then you're bloated in areas where you shouldn't. Mainly, like, say, your feet, you'll start to have like tingling issues in your feet, or your feet swelling. Well, again, that's because of all the animal proteins that we're taking in, that the US doctors and FDA are all telling us that we should be eating. I stopped eating chicken, and because, again, as you, Carrie, explained, they're obviously at war against us. So why wouldn't they use something that they know we gravitate towards to harm us? So I had stopped eating chicken a couple years back. I'm not now, and when I say that, yes, here and there I would eat it because I would be pressured, depending on who I was around. Even now, I'm being tested again, just as, like, basically everything that's happening to us in real time is what happened to these people, that there are these parables of these people in the Bible. I'm being tested every day. Every day I'm being told how I need to eat something, or I'm being asked if I've eaten. And then I'm told, and then when I say no, I haven't eaten for days, I'm fine, I'm not hungry, then I'm told, well, oh, you need to eat something, because we're ingrained. Even our mothers tell us this. Our mothers that tell us, you have to eat something, baby. Like, you got to grow. We don't actually have to eat. We can actually just live. We can actually just breathe and live. There's people right now, just like myself, and they the label, they call us breatharians, because I can go for days. I can go for 9 days or even longer and not even eat. And then, like I said, the reason I do eat is because I feel pressured, or maybe it's some event going on, and I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable, so I'll eat something. But I only eat living food, so I only eat raw fruit, or I only eat raw vegetables. I don't eat any cooked foods. Period. Um, if I was to eat some cooked foods, they would be lightly baked, not nothing charred, because charred foods are dead. Just like meats, all the meat that's in the store is dead. It's period. So you are what you eat. Again, it says that in the Bible. What you put in your temple is what comes out of your temple. So we can't put death into our temples, but then expect to get good out of our temples. And again, going on what you said, Carrie, many times, when we go into these restaurants, we're going into these fast food places. Not only are we getting the energies from how these animals was treated in the short lifespans that they are allowed to have, we're also getting the energies from how they was murdered. And I say murdered because we were not meant, us, the American Indian. When I speak on this, I'm always talking about us. If there's other species of people that in other so-called races that get benefit from what I'm saying, that's great. But I'm always talking about us. I'm worried about us. I'm not worried about whoever is here in the Americas along with us, unless they're part of us, because by being part of us, they then only have the trials and tribulations that we have, as in being discriminated against and being poisoned purposely. So we we eat these foods. So we go to the restaurant, so we're getting this dead food that was treated, however, when it was alive, if you even want to call that life, because as I was saying to Lisa earlier, walking around and breathing is not living. If you're being poisoned and you're being tortured and you're sick, and you have to get a leg cut off, or your toe or legs or whatnot, limbs cut off, you're not living. That is not living. That is walking dead. So again, so we're going into these restaurants, so then we get this food served up to us by someone that we have no idea what they went through earlier, before they came to work. Them arguing with their girlfriend or whatnot, that's being served into our food. The energies is going to our food. So now we have dead flesh that we're eating, which is cannibalism or vampirism, as Edwin spoke on. It's helped me realize he's totally right. That's vampirism. And then not only are we eating dead animal flesh, they also have inserted human flesh, and then making us think that it's um steak. So all the fast food restaurants is serving human meat. Don't take my word for it. Look at their labels and wonder, and go figure out why KFC calls herself KFC instead of Kentucky Fried Chicken. They call themselves KFC because they are no longer feeding you chicken. Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's, all these places changed what they call themselves or what they call their food, because they're serving you human meat. And when I say human meat, that just means what we think are humans, because there's beings here that are in skin suits that are not even what we are. There's people that look like you and I, but they're not even human. But again, none of that matters because the point is we're still participating in cannibalism, whether it's a alien being that we're eating that's in a skin suit that looks like ours or similar to ours of another complexion. So again, this isn't to talk against Christianity because I get, that's ingrained in a lot of us. But what I like to do is I like for Christians, for people that's very devoted to Christianity or even other religions, I like to help them remember the books that they're reading. The books that they're reading literally give them the blueprint. There's parables and there are truths in the Bible, in the Quran, or whatever other books that people read that they take literally, but they don't take it for how they're supposed to take it. So again, the Bible literally tells you to look into your own self. It tells you do not go to a temple, do not go to church. It tells you do not build a church. But you got Christians building churches right now. It tells you do not go to doctors. But then you got Christians like my Uncle Ray who would pray that his surgeon's hands would be steady through God. That doesn't even make sense because how do you go to another man to cut on you, which your Bible tells you not even to do? So you got Christians who don't even uh they don't believe in getting tattoos, but meanwhile they run right to a doctor and get tattooed because when they go to scribe you for surgery, they're putting a tattoo on you. And again, don't take my word for it because I've had certain surgeries myself, and I know for a fact that that ink is the same ink that I use for tattoos, and it embeds in the skin, and it will show around your surgical scar. Not on everyone. Some people it dissipates or they've cut enough of the skin to where that's not on there. But so again, we got we got some of us who, especially our elders, who are very devoted to church, but yet they won't listen to the words that they read out of the Bible to heal themselves. So again, as we started this out, we are all, if Henrietta Lacks is who she is, if her cells was the healing cells that's healed people all over the world, healed millions of people, right? They're still healing people right now. They're not healing us with those because just like our organs, they want our organs. Our organs are the highest sale on the market. Our melanin that's in our skin, it's sold for like $1 million per uh not even an ounce. It's like milliliters or something. Um Everything about us is great. We walk around and we want to put our heads down because the rest of the world that wants to be here is telling us, oh, y'all are too prideful. But meanwhile, what do? They mimic the way we dance, they mimic the way we sing, they mimic the way we dress, they mimic our inventions, they steal our inventions, they think they stealing our land, but as again me and Lisa talked about today, and as she's told us, they haven't stolen the land's still here. They can never steal it, they can't take it with them when they leave this planet. So the land is still here, but our inventions, yes, they've stolen them and then they changed them slightly or they may name them differently, just like how we have military equipment that's named the Apache helicopter and the Tomahawk helicopter and the Cherokee car and the Hellcat car and just on and on, the El Caminos and the Mustang. So they literally mimic all of our energy, but then again, but have us looking to them and have us holding our heads down as if we shouldn't be prideful. We should be very prideful. All the worlds are existing on our planet because of us.
One
Even
more
the
time. Say
what
that again.
all of the worlds are existing on our planet because of us. Even the Brits, the people that out of ignorance call black Europeans, they just, for instance, some of us know that Britannia and America are sisters. So a copper colored original Brit is my cousin from another mother, or from the same mother, because, as again, back to the Bible that the Christians read all the time, and they proudly say this, that all these generations come from certain people, come from a group of people. So with that being said, not that I trust in everything of how they say, we came about, but just to touch on something, if people come from Abram from one land and then they spread out, then that's more than likely what happened with the Brits that's over there on what we now call the other side of the water, which is still connected to our land. This is all one planet. There's no separation of, there's no such thing as two different continents. It's all one landmass. It's just we got water, or we got where they flooded certain waterways, especially our towns. We know for a fact they've flooded most of our thriving towns, so that then they can regenerate something, as they've done these enslavement camps slash plantations that they call cities, which they use to harvest our energies. But again, meanwhile, got some of our mothers and fathers walking around, they got to go to a 9 to 5 job. And then when they get home, then they get to smoke crack or do dope or smoke this GMO weed, which also works with the food to poison us. That even gets passed down to children, from the father and the mother. Again, sometimes we only want to give presidents to one. You got some groups that are like, they're all about the so-called patriarch. It's all about the father. Oh, we come from our fathers. Then you got some, it's like, okay, we only come from our mothers. Yes, we are birthed from our mother's womb, but we come from mother and father. It takes two indigenous people to create a whole Indian. But, and another thing that me and Lisa touched on earlier, so we say the blood, but what we're swimming in and ingesting in our mother's womb up to a certain amount of months, and then we start to ingest our own, is not blood. It's plasma. It's the very thing that they put, these banks that they put around our neighborhoods, that they called ghettos, that they created. They created these ghettos, and then they put us in them, or keep us in them, because they corral us in them. Because just like how some people like me like to go back out into the country where I grew up, and then they got the policy enforcers who make sure that don't happen, because they do something to us, or they charge us with something to run us out of town or whatever, or beat us up like they did me, and then run you out of, then they transport you out of town back into a city or whatnot. So they again, it's all about harvesting our God self. And I use that term. No, there is no God. That's actually a German word, but I'm using that because, again, most of our elders and are Christians, and they so-called believe in a God. So the God is within us. Again, Jesus tells you that in that Bible. That allegory, Jesus tells you that in that Bible, that the God is within you. That what is in him is within you. And that should make sense to people, because how could the son be greater than the father? And this is a question I've asked my mother, who's a devout Christian. Mom, how could I be greater than my father? If I come from my father, why would people worship me and not my father? When people ask who I am, they're asking who I am of my mother and father. They're not asking me who I am as if I created myself and then created my mother and father who came before me. So again, Jesus clearly states that he's only who he is because of his father and mother, not because he just somehow showed up on earth and became the greatest thing ever. And then now Christians pray to him. They don't pray to God. They don't pray to the creator of all. They pray to Jesus, the son of something, which is ridiculous. But again, Jesus tells you all throughout the Bible, he tells you how to heal yourself, and he tells you the power is within you. He tells you that you are the light of the world. Each of us is a light. Again, don't take my word for it. You can try it yourself. Ingest your own UT and stay in your house for 60 days, and you will see that you are the light. The sun is also the light, but the sun is also us. It's for us, it's part of us. We can actually live without the sun. And you want to know how? Because the sun's not even the same sun as 25 years ago. And the reason it isn't shining on us the same because they're chemtrailing everywhere. So it's blocking out the sun rays as we knew it prior. So again, that's proof that we can actually, us Americans can live without sun. We can live without their water. We can live without their food and live a prosperous life. Matter of fact, we will live hundreds of years, as I already know that I'm going to, because I made a pact with my ancestors, even knowing that my children aren't going to be on the same path as me. So I'm going to see my children die. I will probably see my grandchildren die, but that's fine because this is something that I asked to be able to do, to go to that pain of seeing my children and other relatives pass, so that I can be the light, still be a light to people that need the light shined on them, or even be a messiah, because every one of us that's given knowledge is a messiah. Again, that allegory Jesus slash messiah tells you that in the Bible, that each and every one of us is a messiah, because every time you give knowledge to someone, you're a messiah. That's the definition of Messiah. It's not being born to the creator of all worlds and to be held higher than everyone and everything. It literally just means that you're giving knowledge to someone. So right now, I'm just like the allegory Jesus. I'm back in baby stage. I'm learning every day. I'm learning. I'm not, there's no, I have no age. I'm sitting amongst the apostles. I'm sitting amongst the Pharisees, just like the allegory Jesus. I'm helping to teach other elders, and I'm helping to teach other people that have other knowledge that I don't have in other things. But again, what's the saying, Carrie? Each one reach one, teach one.
Yes, each one teach one. Let me ask
Okay.
you. Let me ask you a question, man.
Yes.
So everything that you're saying, I, I get it. You don't have to explain it to me. You don't have to give me another route. I get it. Do you think giving us the moniker black, does that help in the way we think about ourselves and the way we see stuff? Because you just said we're light. We're actually light. And we can see that. And the term black means no light.
Okay.
Could it be the
Yes.
way that we look at ourselves that, some of the things you're saying, "Ugh, I wouldn't do that. The
Well,
way
it
we look.
goes even deeper. It goes even deeper. So, for instance, I've sat back and said, so all this happening right now, this talk, including the talk with Lisa today, all happens because we have an ability that some of us know we have, but a lot of us don't know, but they find out how haphazardly. We have a telepathic ability that you and I have to say no outspoken word to each other, and things will happen.
Right.
So this live that's happening right now, I asked for it to happen because telepathically, just like I telepathically talked to Edwin, and then he's called me or he's texted me something that I was talking to him about. So, yes, words cast spells. This is why our elders say if you don't have something good to say, don't say nothing at all. I participate in that all the time, especially now more so being involved in urine, in ingesting my own urine. You won't. It changes you. Like if you've argued, it will change your relationships with people. It will make you get away from people that's no good for you that maybe you didn't even realize. Maybe you argue, you just always have this argument with your so-called spouse, and you just can't figure it out. Well, on the on the ingesting your own urine, your cells will tell you, will show you people's or it will show you their intentions, and it will also keep you calm in situations where you may have fought back before. So for instance, I'm not a woman beater. A lot of times a woman could probably hit me a couple of times if she doesn't shock me, like come up behind me and hit me in my face to where maybe I don't even know it's a woman, or where it like knocks me senseless to where I then react just out of reaction, because again I'm a trained fighter, so that's kind of like that's a given for me to react when I'm being punched. But with women, I will give them a cut card. But I have been punched by some women and reacted because it was the way they where they punched me and how, and it caused that reflex. But what I've noticed lately is I'm being purposely antagonized, and I give no reaction. I'm totally calm. I'm so calm that after the fact I've shocked myself that I gave no reaction. When I say gave no reaction, I mean I don't name call. I don't say my nothing. My tongue isn't loose. I don't say nothing out of spite. I literally just listen to what they're saying. And if I give an answer, it's a very calm and thoughtful answer. So back to what you were saying about the words. This is one problem we have. We think we always got to be talking. We think we got to be on social media, just blab at our mouths about nonsense. Who did this? Who did that? People that don't, as you've stated so many times, wouldn't piss on us if we was on fire. LeBron James don't care about you and I. He don't care whether we come to his games or not. He's going to get paid regardless. He ain't going to help us. He's not under contract to help us. But again, the words, yes, we speak too many words, which is where I was going with the whole telepathic thing. That we have the ability, as we did for generations after generation, to be amongst each other and enjoy each other and not even speak. Because when you're truly in sync with each other, with ourselves, you don't even have to say a word outspoken. So all these words such as black, mourning, morgue, mortgage, uh I can go on for days. All these color references of people that they're not, they're all word spells. Most of the words that we speak that we're told are English. English is our language, but we've been fed back to us. Things have been changed. For instance, how the word morgue means several things. It can mean a mortgage. Corpse means has is several. It's also the army corpse. The word mourning means if you're mourning the death of someone, but then they also say, "Hey, good morning." So they've changed words that we didn't even, they've changed some words that we spoke, and then they pronounce them differently. And then they take words that we didn't speak and then insert them and say that they're English, but they're not even our language.
Can
So
I clear up something real quick so people can understand clearly what you're saying? When he says English is our language, this is what he means. People across the pond don't talk like us. If you read their literature from the 16 and 1700s, the words, the way they spell things, the S was a F.
Yep. Yeah.
They don't speak like us.
Yeah.
This is your language.
Yeah.
This is how we speak. And this is another thing I want to ask you. Why is it that so many of us don't know? I mean, you're in your own backyard. This has been happening to you, you and your ancestors, everybody. And after you answer this question, I want to bring our next guest in. How come
Okay.
we don't know, man?
Is it Edwin?
Yeah.
Okay, he can answer that for you. I'm gonna let him answer that, and the reason I'm gonna explain why. So again, he's helped me with not judging skin suits, and what mean by that is everything here, as he's helped me realize, is not even us. Is not even a so-called human. So if we're a human, they're not. If they're human, then we're not. You. So it's like, so this is something that Edwin literally has beat into my knowledge. I'm not even going to say thinking, because that's a spell. Like, we shouldn't be thinking of nothing. We should know. We should know, as I do. So like, I wouldn't be speaking on this urine therapy, or this urine journey, or our cellular regeneration, unless I did it myself. I don't speak on anything unless I've done it. So that way I can literally speak from truth and not from another man's ideas of something. But Edwin has, again, he's wholeheartedly into helping me realize that, like, a lot of things are happening and a lot of things go down because we think, as Lisa's even finding out now, we think we're talking to beings that have feelings, but we're literally talking to a AI, even though it's in a skin suit and it's literally breathing, and can sit down and eat a meal. It's it's something else. It's artificial intelligence. So we have a lot of that roaming around. These courthouses are full of them. That's why nothing that Lisa is doing in there that should have been done is going the way that it should, because these are artificial beings that don't have the same life contract that you and I have as indigenous people. Again, the contract, like I said, I've made with my ancestors, as many of us do. They don't have the same contract. So with that, I'm gonna let Edwin go ahead and finish answering your question.
Well, Jay, we want to know. I know I want to know, and then anybody in the audience can come and ask you anything. Dude, what this brother's been talking about for the past 40 minutes, how come most of us just don't know? It never crossed their mind. They never thought of it. They never smelt it. They never looked at it another way. How come the majority of people don't know?
Is that the majority of people don't know?
Yeah,
You could start with education. Education system is an indoctrination um, place that they program you, and you forget. We got to get our actual memory back, not only of who we are, but what once was. Now, we were talking about earlier urine therapy. That information hasn't been lost. They've been hiding that in front of our faces. I'll give you a good example. You ever see those fountains, especially in Rome, a statue peeing water out?
right.
They've been putting that in our face for the longest. You've been floating in, filtered blood plasma while you were gestating. It wouldn't be possible for your what they call vessel or body to develop without it. So, you know, talking to BraveBear, listening to him talk, he got me thinking, because he went all the way in. I just dab in it, you know, as a therapy. But when you find out you have breatharians that actually, now not all of them are the same. Some are not really real breatharians. But there was one, I was listening to him. He was being interviewed by a white woman. It was a melanated brother talking about it, that he's a breatharian. Come to find out, this breatharian revealed to her when she asked him the question, so you just drink coconut water every now and then? He says, well, not just coconut water. She says, what do you mean not just coconut water? He said, urine. So he pulled it out of the refrigerator bottle of it. And she asked him, and he drank it right in front of her. He asked her, you like that stuff? And his answer was, I like the results. That's what he told her. So she went on to ask him another question. She says, if I become a breatharian, does that mean I got to drink my urine too? So I think he responded in a way as to not actually, you know, hit her hard with it. So he went on and said, you don't have to, but yeah. So he was really saying to her, what you do, is up to you. And what he does it for the results. And the results that, you know, the brother here is getting is proof to you. I talked to another brother. He's the one that told me about it anyway. He had an injured shoulder. He lifts weights, and he was supposed to try to see if he could get it repaired. He messed his shoulder up. He may have to get operated on. He got wind of the urine therapy. He decided to try it. As after I don't know how long, he didn't tell me the length of time it took him, but he says that actually healed his shoulder. But you got stem cells in there. You got to look at stem cells as rejuvenating cells. The brother here sent me a video of some African guy, and this guy had a heart issue, and his situation was terminal. But he heard of the urine therapy. He decided to give it a try. After a certain amount of time, he noticed a change. But this African, he did admit one thing. He went through a transformation. He went through basically a complete. Now, I'm not saying he was an old guy. He was kind of young, but his situation was terminal. His body went through a complete overhaul. But he admitted that it took him 24 years because he was still doing the same things that he was doing before that he shouldn't have been doing in his situation,
Right.
So I'm bringing that up to tell you that it is best when you're cleansing, when you embark on that journey. But when you go in all the way, as the brother here has actually testified to, you're going to find something out that just listening to him talk and others about it led me to realize something, that we not only have been deceived on how to take care of our own bodies, but we've been conditioned to do severe damage to our system. Um,
Could you give us an example?
well, I'll put it to you this way. You know what happens when a person gets an organ transplant? Do you know what activates when you get the organ of another individual that's not of your genetics? Because
No.
each and every one of us has a specific genetics, like a fingerprint. It's not exactly the same in each and every one of us. The body recognizes that. Your immune system kicks in. That's what happens. So they got to give you suppressants in order for the organ to take hold because it's going to attack it right away. It don't
Right.
belong there. Well, we got things in our bodies that don't belong there. Genetics from other living beings. They do research on stem cells, but what's interesting about it, in all hospitals worldwide, when a baby is born, they sabotage the baby as soon as the baby's born by cutting that tube. That tube goes to the placenta. That placenta has the baby's own blood cells and stem cells that's designed specifically for that baby and only that baby. Now, there are people out there that do get stem cell therapy, but some of them be doing it with other people's stem cells. There's a complication that comes with that. But with your own, there's no complication. So that
And you pay millions of
placenta,
dollars
right, that
also.
placenta is not to be used in some lab for stem cell research in someone else's body and whatever other products that they turn it into. After I talked to an old nurse, I've lost contact with her. I don't know what happened to her. Anyway, she's retired, and she told me some of them actually eat it. Some of the individuals that probably run those hospitals, they
Mhm.
got fetal material access. They'll eat that shit. They really will do that. It ain't. I mean, you might say it's cannibalism, but yeah, you got cannibals operating in our society. They're talking about that Epstein character and that operation. Yeah, that's been going on for quite some time. But not to get off the subject, as I'm listening to all this, I'm starting to realize, other than those that have taken part in, you know, the journey of a breatharian, there's a life form. There are life forms on this planet that doesn't resort to vampirism. Because I'm looking at it, they turned us into fucking vampires. Excuse the language. Because you got animals they don't want to be eaten. You got plant life they don't want to be eaten either. But the plant kingdom does exactly what I'm describing. You got to take the trees for instance. The longest living of the plant kingdom. They take in the sun, they process it with the leaves, they turn it into, I mean, what is eating? It's basically it's a flimsy attempt of you trying to obtain energy. That's really what it is. The trees ground it to the earth, and when it rains, the circuit is completed, and it's a cycle thing. So you remember, I mean, I covered this years ago in Brevity. Remember those mine shaft workers that got caught into a cave in?
Yeah.
No, they were down there in the dark with no water, no food. Now, if you try to dig up that story, they're going to change the narrative. But you heard what happened to them. They were down there for 2 months and 10 days, 70 days, and they walked out on their own power. They drank their own urine during that time. But if you try to get that story now, they're not going to. It might not say that. They try to say that they send down food. There's no way they send down food because, according to the information where I was listening to it, they said that drilling machine was breaking down. So how would they send food down to them? You know, but it ain't just them. That's not an isolated incident. There was another individual. I'm going to try to find that story, but because I like to see it. I think he was there out at sea for a length of time. And he did the same thing, you know.
Hmm.
So I'm just saying that you're hearing rumors about food shortages and famine and things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, I ain't worried about that. I'm looking at it from the perspective, my energy that's within me, you know, the urine literally is your own physician, internal physician. That's really what it is. It has intelligence. Let me tell you something. You could almost detect instant reaction once you start it. It works that quickly. Remember the old westerns? When you got bit by a rattlesnake, they used to show it on the television, Western television show. I don't remember it, but someone brought it to my attention because I didn't watch westerns. They used to say, pee on it. It neutralizes the venom. Any venomous creature that stings or bites you, it'll neutralize it, you know? And
Yeah,
I'm starting to think this. The longer you do what these breatharians and what the brother here is doing, I'm starting to think that it'll work its way to the point where your pineal gland will be decalcified. And I wouldn't be surprised if your genetic code gets a reset to the point where it will literally extend your lifespan by uncapping those telomeres. The scientists have found out that aging is actually a disease. They found out that the end of the telomeres on your chromosome has been capped. And they said that did not happen to a course of, you know, um, degradation or certain genetic levels. That was deliberately done. They've come to that conclusion. I think they may have been able to reverse it in mice to some degree and extend their lifetime. There are some ancient tablets. I think it's in Oxford, some museum in the UK, Sumerian tablets, supposedly. They got those kings ruling for tens of thousands of years. They lived a long time. These Anunnaki kings, so to speak, I've heard about that. So something happened scientifically to tamper with the life forms on this planet in the ancient world a long time ago. Scientists are finding it. They're seeing that there was a tampering. So it'll,
oh,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Well, I have a question because what's being said tonight is very interesting. And when you said that that's what you're in your mother's womb is urine, you're swimming in it and how it heals and all that. Quick question, because this is what came to mind when I'm listening to it. So when you pee in the toilet in water, and if you look closely, it looks like there's little electrical charges going through the urine. I think you can see the shadow, in the toilet bowl. You know what I'm talking about?
It is a
What
charge
what is that?
because it's exactly what you said. It's electrical. All distilled water is distilled. So watermelons is distilled water. Fruit is distilled water. Real fruit like that has you know juicy fruit. Um, what else? Distilled water that like how Edwin has a distiller. Even the store bought distilled water is the same. It's all electrical and it pulls out toxins. So you can put here's another thing that I found amazing. So how we drink bottled water and we're told that it's poisoning us. Well, you can put urine in plastic bottles. You can put distilled water in plastic bottles, and it won't harm you. It literally it like puts layer of cells or skin or neutralizes. I think didn't you say that the other day, Edwin? I guess that's a good term. Neutralizes all toxins. So out of the body, it expels them, but in a container, it literally neutralizes the BPA in plastic jugs. So distilled water is healing to
You there?
urine. Yeah, distilled.
I'm not hearing him.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got cut off or something.
Oh, you
So
can't hear me.
yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. So distilled water, this bottled distilled water or clear distilled water and fruit distilled water is very healing. But again, it nothing beats urine because urine is highly structured distilled water. Again, it has 6,560 something plus minerals in it. There's nothing on earth that has that many minerals in it. No plant, not even fruit. You can on urine, you can like I said, I go for days. Right now, I'm getting ready to go. I have a traffic court coming up, so I'm going to not ingest anything but urine until that traffic case. I did when I really got into this, did 9 days straight, and then I ingested a salad, and then I went like another 6 to 7 days. Like when I'm saying this, this happens because you forget to eat because you're not hungry. Like so, how we have an addiction with food, as Lisa was saying earlier, or we're always thinking about it. So like we get up early and it's supposed to be breakfast, breaking your fast, and then lunchtime comes around, the bell rings whether you're in school or work, and then it's time to ingest food. Then you get off of work, then maybe you grab a snack, and then you sit down and eat a whole meal, then you grab another snack before bed. When you're on doing urine, you literally forget. Like I'm sitting here right now, I have eaten nothing for today, nothing at all. Not a drop of food, no fruit juice, only urine. And I'm not hungry. Like I forgot that I didn't eat. I didn't plan on it, but it's like I didn't remember anyway. You don't go to the refrigerator looking because your body is totally satiated. Like it's it's like I was telling Edwin, it's as if like when especially when you go through stages. When you first start, you actually get a high. So like when I started years ago, but then I kind of fell off, and like I said, I stopped doing some things like rubbing it on me or like soaking in it and put it on as facials and all that. Now I do daily facials. I rub it on my body. I do not take showers as everyone else does. Like I don't, there's no reason to. This is the best water. You don't smell. Nobody smells it. As a matter of fact, you want people like Viagra for sexual enhancement. Again, urine. Urine will, if you have any erectile dysfunctions, any type of bacteria smells, it heals that. It makes makes people turned on by you. Like it's a pheromone. So like when I'm out and about, like I got people stare like literally staring into my eyes. They don't know why, but they're searching for they're drawn to this light that's coming out of my eyes that I don't see like that because it's my eyes. You know, you don't normally see all those things. Just like if you get your hair, you know, you dye your hair, you may like it, but you don't see the change that other people see. So there's a total change in me, even to the point that I'm being told how soft and radiant my skin is. Um, you know, significant other can't keep her hands off of me. It's she can't figure it out. But so yeah, that's what goes on with this. It's it's extremely powerful.
Excuse me a
Um,
So
minute. I have a question for you. You remember? Can you tell the audience what you had told me about it when you had, used it on your eyes? What happened
oh yes.
after?
Okay. All right. So yeah. So like I was saying, when you go through stages, so it's when you first start, it's as if you are a baby that smoked the best blunt or whatever, the best weed or whatever. So you literally are you're how people take acids for intelligence. You don't need to take any enhancement drugs or any nothing because this literally puts you like the movie Lucy. There's a movie Lucy that came out and how she took some type of drug. That's literally what I was telling Edwin is what I felt. I could literally feel my cells going to work. I could feel them going to my brain, like everything. They was rushing to go everywhere they needed to be so that I could be at my highest. What was you just asked about something that got healed?
No, I was asking what did you experience in terms of how you saw, how you how
Oh,
you
okay. So
how
my
you
eyes.
seen
Okay.
after you had done it. Put it
So
in the eyes.
um yeah, so the eyes, so I was putting urine in my eyes. So first I used what they call aged or evolved, but it burns a lot. So Dr. Sebi supposedly did that too, and then he went blind. Well, he went blind because he probably was getting ready to go blind. So his cells rushed to where they knew they needed to go first. So for me, because my eyesight wasn't that great recently to where I had to where I can't see close. So once I started back on this urine therapy wholeheartedly, I can see so clear that I was telling Edwin and I told Melanie this, that if I could see any greater, I can see through people's clothes. That's how. So, for instance, I can see the leaves on the tree. I can see the texture. I can stand back like 20 feet, even sometimes even further than that, and I could see so far and I could see so close. Like I can see, like, I don't know who has an iPhone, but anyone that has an iPhone, they know that a lot of us get iPhones as myself because as an artist, there's no phone handheld device like a phone is has a camera like a professional camera, except for an iPhone. So that's how I see. I see the polarized, like how you get polarized glasses and then you can now see in the water and you can see fish in the water. That's how I see. See everything. I could see bugs that I couldn't see before just walking. Like I could see I could see so great that I even said that I guess it's like what a lizard would see, like, or a hawk. How a hawk can see its prey from afar. That's how I can see. And not only can I can see through my eyes, two eyes, but I'm also seeing from my third eye. So I can see ores. I can not know someone, never have met them, and then they be right in front of me, and I know their ore. I can see through them. Basically, I can see their intentions of what they feel about me or whatnot, whether they're dangerous to me or anything. Um, so basically, I'm seeing out of my pineal gland, which is the third eye, which is the eye that we're actually seeing out of. We actually don't see out of our two eyes. We actually are seeing out of our brain. Our brain tells us what we're seeing, which is why you can have several different witnesses at an accident see different things, because their brain is all each telling them a different part of it. So
Well, we
we
have a
don't taste.
question. Well, we have a question from the audience. This is from Dewey Decimal, and he wants to know, how do you get in your B vitamins or any other vitamins that, supplements that they always brag about?
Okay, see that right there, and it touches on what Edwin was said with your question, and then how Edwin answered it. That's programming. Just like how when if we go to Chipotle, and I've laughed about this and said stuff to people. So you stand at the counter at Chipotle, they say, "What's your proteins?" They're not talking about the vegetables or the beans. They're talking about the meat. Who says what a protein is? Who gave that the label? Just, well, I can tell you, the same people that give us labels, the same people that called us black, the same people that's now calling us African American, the same people that tells us uh Pinckney Way, which is uh my family's surname, or part of my family's surname. Just like when they changed Pinckney Way to some other name, that's all they're doing. They're labeling stuff according to their gain, to their commercial gain. So to answer that question, I actually answered it several times. Our yarn has 6,560 something plus minerals. All the B vitamins is at the top of the list, because they all have to do with, and I'm going to use this as for layman terms, oxygen, which Edwin's helped me realize we're actually not breathing oxygen. That's actually a poison or whatnot. So, our yarn has everything that we need to not only heal us, but feed us and mentally stimulate us. So like again, what me talking right now, I'm normally a very shy person. Like I don't have much to say or whatnot. I'm talking this is my cells talking. This is my cells, our cells talking to us. So they're talking to me as I'm talking, because as I've said to Edwin earlier, I kind of needed his help to bring up certain things as he has, because I could go on for days and keep talking and not even remember things that's healed on even myself, like my gums and my teeth and my the gray hairs that started coming in from oxidation of the foods in the waters that I thought was healing, spring water, which is trash, especially from water jugs. But it's trash anyway, because there is no healing waters anymore. They poisoned everything. The only thing they can't poison is distilled water, because you can take poison and distill it, and it will now become healing.
Can I
You,
interject a little bit?
yes,
Yeah. Only reason why I'm interjecting is because technically we're really nitrogen breathers, because
right, right. I remember you saying that.
70% of the atmosphere is really nitrogen.
Right.
Oxygen's only about between 18 and 20%. And I know what you're saying about protein, but what's interesting about nitrogen is that it's actually a fuel, and to prove it, it's used in nitrates for explosives. It's used to fertilize the soil. It's the element which what they refer to as the building blocks of proteins or amino acids. So essentially, and I've heard one um, inventor even mention, you vacate nitrogen out of a chamber and you try to ignite something, it won't ignite. The catalyst will not work. Fuel, oil, whatever, it will not ignite. Now they told you that about oxygen, but you know, even in racing, when kids used to race, they used to use these nitrous oxide bottles to give that engine a boost.
Hmm.
So that's why I kind of wanted to clarify that. But in terms of the vitamins and things like that, the body makes it.
Right.
It's actually making it. Um, the stem cells are what they are. I mean, outside of other minerals and things like that, which you get from sources like even in your water, if you drink water with it. But if you don't have it, you're getting it out of the food. But even then, um, what's interesting? The foods that we eat, they tell you the benefits of each and every one of them. But what's strange is really the food becomes toxic when you eat it to the level where the body, that's the reason why you got to fast. Because whatever items that they call are its benefits, that's latent within you. You just talk about protein a lot,
Hmm.
but you take an animal protein and protein from other life forms with their own specific genetics. Like I said before, but your own genetics is the stem cells. So all this talk about urine therapy itself got me thinking, relating on a genetic level. So how can you explain it when you find out what it does? I mean, even when you engage in it, as you engage in it, it's building whatever else is in the body that needs to be overhauled, including your immune system. It
Hmm.
builds that up.
Being that being with that we're in an age now where the medical establishment tells the average patient what to do, how do you think this is? Because I know this information has been out for a long time, and I know how our community look at it like, ugh, whatever. Being that the medical establishment is changing so rapidly, do you think this will be something that the masses will pick up on, or do you think it'll just fly over their head like everything else?
But the urine therapy itself,
Yeah. So if
yeah,
you
a
so
lot of
if you
people steer away from it because see if they go to sources they don't know how to use the internet. Most people really use the internet for entertainment. That's not the way to use it. You should use it to learn something while there's still, time. I mean, they're censoring a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong. But the right way to use it is to gather whatever information that you can arrive at without even having to travel the world. It's at the tip of your fingers. When you use it right, you learn. We all don't know everything. There's going to be somebody that knows something that's going to be very useful to you. But for all intents and purposes, the general population is going to go by way of the artificial. We already see that everything's being, for quite a long time. We've been used to artificial things. We got artificial intelligence now. Even that, you got to check on it. If you may use the artificial intelligence, if you don't check on it, it can give you, information that's completely off. You got to know the source where it got it from. So I'm just saying that going back to nature and the natural, which is already in you, you can't go wrong. Your higher self will tell you that. Urine therapy is mentioned at least, I don't want to overdo it, but over 100 times in the Bible. It's called
Hmm.
participating in your living waters. Living waters. But the charlatan ministers, they don't tell you that. And I don't like to always refer to the Bible because I know it's distorted too. But it does have some, accurate information in there. But you got to go beyond the Bible to see what the distortions are. But it's mentioned in there. It's in there.
Last thoughts and ideas. Brave Bear. What do you have to leave for us?
For anyone listening, just try it. If you think it disgusts you, just gargle with it, and then spit it out. And it, but you'll know you'll start. It will still go through your body because under our tongue we have lots of receptors. In our mouth we have receptors that connect to other parts, other organs, and other parts of our bodies. So if you gargle with it and then spit it out, you'll know that it's going to help heal you. If you just drop a couple drops under your tongue each day, or if you just want to drink the early urine. I mean, there's so many things. You can mix it in a smoothie. That's the other thing I had started when I first started on the UT journey. I was only mixing it in a smoothie. I actually wouldn't drink it at first, straight up. I would always put it in a smoothie or some type of drink. It still heals you that way. um Basically just try it, like, just try it. And then if you don't like it, or if you don't see a change, which I can guarantee you that you're going to see a change, because you're going to get up one day and you're going to look 10 years younger. And then if you decide to keep dabbling in it, then you're going to get up another day of another month and you're going to look 20 years younger. And then everybody around you is going to be looking at you all strange, trying to figure out how you're so called 51 or 50 or 61 or 70, but looking like back when you was 35 or 40, or in my case, 22, 23. But so I'm was born 51 uh so-called years ago, or birth or whatnot, 51 years ago. But like I say, people don't know. As I was saying to Edwin earlier, I could walk outside right now, and young people, male or female, don't know that I'm not their age. People have no idea. But also another thing I do, as you referred to, Carrie, is casting spells with words. I don't use a lot of words. I don't use colors for myself. I don't use the word age, because I'm not old. I like I, I'm not old. Period. Because, like, I know that words cast spells. I know words heal. Just like if you talk to plants or you talk to water, anything you do to water, you speak to water, it either has a positive effect or a negative effect. So I speak to my cells, so I never speak wrongly against my cells, because I want my cells to do what I'm asking them to do. So I want to be like, I take pride in being so-called 51, but all 51-year-olds around me are complaining about aches and pains and uh hairs grayed and wrinkles and bags under their eyes, but that's not what I look like. So that's again, we should be prideful of who we are. Be very
And
proud.
kind of like you say, when you the words cast spells. So when you say you're black, you're actually you're saying you're the definition of that word.
Exactly. Dead, ugly,
Right.
mischievous,
Right.
criminal.
Right.
Uh,
And arrogant about it.
right.
Arrogant about calling yourself that. So yeah, man, I appreciate you coming and sharing this information with my audience, man, because we're trying to, get some clarity on stuff on what's going on in the world. And a lot of times, all we need to do is look to ourselves.
Yes.
And you definitely shared that and brought that out tonight. So much appreciation to you.
Yes. Can I say this real quick?
Sure.
So I so people listening to me, don't think that I didn't have any cancers or diseases, because I did. But I rest in myself and healed them. So all parasites, any cancers, I had colorectal cancer, healed. Even pretty recently, I had even after having surgery for that, I had hemorrhoids that wouldn't go away, healed. Urine therapy. I was considered pre-diabetic twice within the last couple of years, healed. And I know for a fact because when I go in, like I discussed with Lisa earlier, they call it A1C, and your good cholesterol and your bad cholesterol. So when I went back in, everything was good. The doctor, I had an Asian practitioner. He's telling me, "Hey, you found the fountain of youth. Congratulations." So again, listen to me talk. Don't think People don't think that I didn't have issues that could have killed me. But even if you don't have issues, you may not know. You may not know that there's something that you're doing, or that you did, or that was done to you, that could take your life. But your urine will fix that. Your urine will go to that source and fix it, more so before it does vanity. So don't be thinking that if you got wrinkles, that it's going to go right to the wrinkles, because you may have cirrhosis of the liver that your urine knows to go to first. So that's all I want to say.
So when you listen to brothers like this, and it's one of the brothers that he alluded to earlier, Dr. Sabi. These cats be experimenting on themselves and doing things that they may have picked up from other people, other cultures, their cultures where they come from, and a lot of people swear by these remedies. So if you're not one of those people who scared and only listen to what boss say, check out your essence, because after all, it's only your piss. And we take something that we don't know what it is, where it came from, what it do, and we swear by that. So, have some confidence in yourself and realize that, you're the answers to a lot of problems that you have. Jay, last words.
Yeah, just for clarity, I like to say that none of the information we presented is medical advice. It's just for informational
Right.
purposes and from actual experience. Experience that brother has had to some degree, because I didn't go all the way in like he did, but I plan on it. I've had some experiences with it too. Um, some years ago, you heard an individual tell you, trust the science. But I say, trust the science that's within you. So take whatever information you heard here as you will, and let your journey be your journey and not necessarily what you heard here exclusively or anywhere else. And do your own research on the subject. And I'll end it with that. Thanks for having me and have a good night.
Yes, thank you.
You're most welcome. So listen, guys. So, there you have it from some of your own brothers, cousins, uncles, nephews. Information is given to us all the time, but it just so happen whatever comes on TV or the radio, we like to go in that direction. Remember, it's your own essence. It's yours. Like the brother said, that's what you were born in. That's where you were in when you was in your mama's womb. It has the ability to heal you. Your own urine has the ability to heal the person for which it comes from. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We're going to have some more for you later on in the week. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Peace.